I gotta clean up my studio, but to make it more interesting for both you and me, I'm going to be sharing 4 lessons that I've learned so far setting up my mobile coffee business. If you are new to the channel here, my name is Kenyon and I started a mobile coffee cart on my Omnia Minimax, my cargo bike. I have learned a lot in the past 6 months. I've made a handful of mistakes and I want to talk about those here. I think you'll find it interesting. And the last point that I have to make is, I think, the most important and gets my point across the most clearly. I do not want to do this, I'll tell you what. Lesson number 1, test before buying. When I started, I've been researching starting a coffee cart for like a number of years. And when I started researching, the first thing I knew that I wanted to do, I wanted to make my coffee cart electric. And I did a ton of research. This is gonna be a long video. And I did a ton of research into different battery packs, the different companies. There's like a ton of different companies that make really high quality power banks. I talk a little bit about the equipment that I'm using in the very first video that I made about the coffee cart. This here is my power bank. I ended up going with the Anker Solix C2000. This power bank runs my coffee grinder. It runs an electric kettle for me. It is a workhorse and I am very, very impressed with this thing so far. But the one thing that I didn't do was really rigorously test it. And I ended up overcomplicating things for myself quite a lot. And I ended up spending a couple $100 more than I really needed to. The number one way that I overcomplicated things for myself is I vastly underestimated the power of the power bank. Before I got started, I was really afraid of running out of battery during service. I was really worried about it being busy. I have customers in line and my battery's running low and I'm feeling really stressed out because I'm about to run out of power. I was super worried about that situation. And so basically what happened is I came up with a solution to a problem that did not exist. I bought this bad boy. This thing is a insulated Yeti 6-gallon water tower. This thing was like $350. I bought this before I made a single pour over because I had the brilliant idea of heating up water ahead of time, going to the coffee shop that I'm working with, getting hot water from that coffee shop, putting it in this, and then going to the farmer's market. And my plan worked beautifully. It worked super well. I was pulling water into my electric kettle that was already at like 150 degrees and then using the power bank to heat it up that last 50 degrees or so. The long story short is that I did not need to do any of that at all. I was using 9% of the battery life of this guy. For the last couple months, I've been taking cold water to the events, bringing it up to boil entirely with this. And this is an absolute unit. At the end of the day, I have like 80% battery remaining. And so I feel super silly, honestly, for spending a good bit of money to solve a problem that didn't exist. On top of buying the Yeti cooler that I didn't need, I bought a set of solar panels. This is one 200-watt solar panel that charges the Anker Solix power bank that I bought. So anyway, am I upset that I bought a bunch of equipment that I don't need? No, not really. Like, I feel a little silly about it, but I use the Yeti for events and I ultimately am glad that I have it because it carries a ton. It's really good for cold brew. So in a video that I have coming up, I plan on using it for that. The solar panel, I feel a little bit silly about because I haven't touched it, but someday I would love to add an espresso machine to my coffee cart. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. I have no concrete plans on that, but I think a fully solar powered espresso cart would be really cool. And so I will figure out a use for this. And I guess to bring it back around and to put a finer point on it, test before buying. Like, before you drop all the money on the equipment that you think you'll need, make some pour overs, make coffee. Like, this might sound obvious, and like, I consider myself a smart guy, okay? And I did a lot of research, I did a lot of planning, and it worked out really well. But in my case, the anxiety got me. Like, I thought that I needed to over prepare. I thought I needed a ton more stuff than I actually needed. So yeah, if I had to do it again, I would be way more careful about what I buy when. And so I'm telling you that so that you don't make the same mistake. All right, on to number 2. Okay, it's dusty in here. My partner watches my partner watches cleaning videos on YouTube. You know, people who go into like hoarder houses or like really disgusting places, clean cars, whatever. And they be doing that shit with no gloves, no mask, just, oh my gosh. Anyway, lesson number 2. It isn't about you. It's not about you. At this point, a lot of people will say, like, think about your audience or consider your audience. And I think that's really valuable advice, but to me, something that framed it better comes from the service industry. I don't even know where this stuff is from. I've worked in coffee for like 5-6 years. I love coffee. I drink black coffee myself, and I love pour-overs. I love like fancy specialty coffee. I totally would drop $30 on a box of coffee and like not, I mean, I would think about it, but it wouldn't stop me, right? And so when I went out and I started my coffee cart, I decided I was gonna make pour-overs, and I brought really nice coffee. And I completely forgot to bring sugar. I didn't have any sugar. I brought a little bit of oat milk, I remembered that, but I didn't have any regular milk, and I didn't bring any sugar, anything at all. You know, and like, it sounds simple, it sounds like a silly, quick little mistake to make, but the deeper point there is that, like, when I walk into a coffee shop, I'm looking for and expecting a very specific thing. And when 90% of people walk into a coffee shop, they're not thinking about the same things that I'm thinking about. You know, and it took me a couple weeks, actually, of not bringing sugar. Like, I kept forgetting to bring sugar. And then at some point, I like finally got over myself, and I bought some honey from one of the farmers market stands that sells local honey, and I started advertising a honey cold brew latte. Maybe this is obvious to you, but it was not obvious to me. People love it. People are super into it, and I've been selling a lot of honey cold brew lattes. People love something sweet. They just want something like refreshing, caffeinated, yummy, easy to drink. And so what's my point? My point, it's easy to say, think about your audience, think about who this is for. But when I think about my audience, I just think about me. Like, you know, when I'm being creative, when I'm trying to come up with video ideas, I'm a painter, so when I'm making paintings, like, I'm thinking about what people might like. I'm thinking about what I would like. I'm making the videos that I want to see. I'm making the coffees that I enjoy making. But what made it click a little bit better for me is that it isn't for me. Like, it isn't about me. And so I don't know, if you're trying to set up a project, if you're thinking about something, like, you know, think about your audience is one way of putting it, but like a lot of time it's about like communicating a point or providing value to people, making people's days better, entertaining them, giving them a story that they might like and appreciate, giving them space and time to be able to like enjoy whatever the product is that you're giving them. I'm not an expert and I'm not a millionaire, but if you're starting a project, if you're trying to get into the coffee world, because you got a big ego and you have a hole in your soul that needs filling, like, you're in the wrong place. Like, if you want to build a brand that is going to be big and successful and end up getting bought out by Nescafe for $1 billion so that you can be really rich, like, that's great. You can have that. You might be in the wrong industry to get rich, but if you want to start a YouTube channel because you want to be rich and successful, the odds are you're probably not going to be rich and successful. Like, you're gonna need another job. You're gonna have a lot of side hustles. So I'm not out here to try to preach the right way and the wrong way of doing things, but for me, a revelation of a kind was just realizing how little it is actually about me. Ultimately, I'm here to serve other people and create a product that has value in the world, that adds things to the world. Like, that's something that I really strive for. So anyway, I hope that made any sense at all. If that's helpful to you, even a little bit, awesome, great. I'm gonna keep cleaning. And we'll get on to point 3. Lunchtime. Lesson number 3, stairs. Stairs, stairs, and more stairs. Allow me to demonstrate. When you're in the ideas phase of a new project, I'm out of breath, like, you know? When you're in the ideas phase of a project, anything is possible. The sky is the limit. And you can get yourself to believe that small problems won't actually affect you that much. You know, I haven't turned down any opportunities, but is it possible that I would be doing more pop-ups? Would I be pushing myself harder if I had a studio on the first floor? Yeah, like almost definitely yes. Those little problems, those little things that you just hand wave in the beginning of the ideas process, take those things seriously. Yeah, I think you get my point. I've done it to myself. And I look forward to the day where I get to go back and watch this clip and be like, man, I'm so glad I don't have to run those stairs anymore. Okay, the studio is looking really, really good. Before I give you the before and after reveal, we gotta talk about lesson number 4. For the payoff for this video, I was going to go on a little bike ride and then talk about lesson number 4, but I don't know if you can see this behind me. It's a big old rainstorm rolling in. Hell yeah. Anyway, okay, lesson number 4, buy the f***ing bike. In 2024, I was working with my friend Astrid at Variety Coffee Roasters in Williamsburg, and a regular came in and ordered a drip coffee and a shot of espresso. Now, in the great nation of Philadelphia, a beer and shot combo in many places is called the Citywide Special. If you go to a bar and you order the Citywide Special, you'll get a beer and a shot, a PBR and a shot of Jim Beam. That is a Citywide. So this regular comes in and orders a drip coffee and an espresso, and Astrid, knowing, of course, that I'm from Philadelphia, turns to me and says, bro, that's a Citywide. And I was like, dude, you're a genius. You are literally a genius, okay? So that is 2 full years ago. That happened in 2024. And I had the idea and I didn't do it. I sat on that idea for a long time. I was busy, I had a full-time job, I had bills to pay, like there was a lot of stuff going on. And so earlier this year, when I found myself freelancing and juggling a couple different gigs, I was able to reclaim a little bit of my time back. And when the idea hit me to buy a cargo bike and build my mobile coffee situation and do coffee pop-ups on a cargo bike, everything clicked into place. And so this project, this goofy little project, started with buying that bike. And like, maybe my point to you is like, follow your dreams, but like, it's really not. It's like, what are the things that you can do to make it more concrete? Like, creative people, our brains love ideas. We love ideas. We get so addicted to ideas. We obsess over ideas. And you come up with an idea and it's really good and you think it might be fun. You maybe sketch it out, you make some notes, you even start an Excel sheet to write down all the costs. Like, you go through all the motions, like getting the idea onto paper, like shining that idea up in your head and making it look more polished and pretty. And then, oh, well, what if I added this? And then I can do that. And then maybe it would be better if I did this. And if you're not careful, by the time you're ready to make that idea happen, the opportunity has already come and passed. And so I think that, like, when you have excitement over the idea, when you have like momentum behind it, instead of tweaking and planning and polishing and scripting and re-scripting and doing all this stuff, buy the f***ing bike. You know, that was step 1 to me. It was the crazy, ridiculous step out into the void. And I put a silly amount of money into the idea. That was the first thing I bought. And then I had the bike and I was like, all right, I guess I have to make this happen. This is real now. Like, I have to make this real. And, you know, user discretion is advised. I'm not saying drop like $4,000. I don't think that you should drop a ton of money into an idea if it's half-baked. But what's the little thing? What's the first thing that you can do to make that idea concrete, to make that first step out into the unknown? Ugh. I don't have a real mop, and so this is a towel. Just to make sure you can see that. This is a towel, a rag, on the end of a mop stick, with a red bucket. So we're doing our best. There's smart ways to do things, and I did a lot of research and a good amount of planning, and you know, I've talked a little bit about how I got some things wrong in that research, and I think that's really interesting for next time. Like, whatever the idea is, whatever the next journey is going to be for me, I think that I will have learned some interesting things in this process on a small scale, right? But the only way you can learn things and the only way you can grow is to buy the f***ing bike. All right, that's life advice from a 28-year-old. Let's go see my studio. Ta-da! Oh yeah! Look at this! Obviously, it's far from perfect, but this is a huge improvement, all right? You can actually see the floor. Unfortunately, a lot of this is like stains, like this is epoxy and paint and stuff all over the floor, which I really don't love. I really tried to clean up a lot of it as much as possible. But the point of cleaning up the studio is so that my buddy Marcus can move into this slot right here. As far as that's concerned, huge success. This is great. I would love to clean up and paint these walls to make them so much cleaner. Okay, and finally, what I'm perhaps most excited about. This was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. This was the world's least functional shelf. Now I have my my coffee equipment here and here. I've got a little bit of extra stuff there. I've got some studio equipment in a box. There's some boxes down here that have random bits and bobs. This is like an actually functional shelf. Stoked about it. I also cleaned out the fridge. I did some of that off camera. Table. This table is actually clear. I'm guilty of this. This is a, you know, guilty as charged. But yeah, overall, pretty successful. Pretty good day. Okay, but that about concludes my video. So thank you so much, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know if any of those little lessons resonated with you. Let me know if this is something that you're into. Like, I don't know how this video is going to land. Let me know if you think I'm dumb for the mistakes that I made. Obviously, on the internet, a lot of people make their lives out to be perfect and great, but that's not how things actually are in actual real life. And so I just wanted to spend some time talking about some of that and talking about a little bit about the mistakes that I made and clean up the studio, or at least mostly clean up the studio. So I achieved what I came here for. I hope that you got something out of it. And if you didn't, I apologize. But I appreciate you for watching, especially if you made it this far into the video. You're my favorite. And thanks so much. And I'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye.